thank you for joining us here today at at the Omnia Group. My name is Tanya Devane, and I'm the client advisor here. Just to do a little housekeeping in the beginning, at the very top, you'll see a man kind of with his hand raised. That's how you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I'll have questions throughout this webinar. If you want me to speak louder or speak softer, speed up, slow down, laughter and applause is always greatly appreciated. If I say something funny or if I say something that you like, please laughter and applause. I will accept it all. So this is the third part of our hiring series. April 7th, we did employee recruitment. I like to call that the dating phase. You know, that's kind of like when you put your profile out there on the internet and you're kind of sourcing to see what's out there for me. Is there anyone there that I really want to kind of date seriously? So that was our April 7th presentation. And then on April 14th, Kim Bussey did how to get better results in the interviewing. And I call this the real, like now you've narrowed it down to a few candidates that you're dating, and so now you want to narrow it down even further. And both of those are on our YouTube page, and they are recorded, as well as this one will be recorded as well, and we'll have it up on our YouTube page in about a week. If you friend us on Facebook, you'll also be able to see it that way. So this is our onboarding presentation, and I like to call the onboarding is you've asked and they said yes. So she accepted the ring, or he gave you the ring, you said yes. So this is where the onboarding piece is. And then next week, the final fourth part of this series is delivering a painless 90-day evaluation. So that's kind of when you're revisiting, saying, is this really what I want to do? Sometimes you get that 7-year itch, and so that 90-day painless evaluation is talking about having that real in-depth conversation. So it's beneficial for both parties. So the first thing I like to talk about are, why do we onboard? So the first question, you can go ahead and use the chat box at the bottom. The first question is, if you don't have a goal, what are your goals with onboarding? So I know a lot of you all said that you do onboard, and the onboard lasts for a few months. So what are your goals during those few months with the onboarding? So if you just want to type down in the chat box about what are your goals with onboarding, because we had quite a few people online that actually have an onboarding process, which is awesome and great. You definitely need that. Mia, perfect. Follow up, stay engaged. Yes, we all hear about that engagement, and we want that engagement score to be high. We want our employees to last, and retention. Great, Karen, about that retention and engagement creates them to last. New hires aware of our culture. Trina, you are spot on. Cultural immersion. I enjoy seeing all of this about the culture and assimilation and acclimation, because that is a lot of what I'm going to talk about today on this webinar. So you all are ahead of the game. Get the buy-in with our process, procedures, and culture. Right, Robert. CJ, comfort level for employees. All of these are great. Yes, the goal of onboarding is to pinpoint those objectives. You want to know what the end game is. You want to know exactly what am I trying to accomplish here. And once I know what I'm trying to accomplish, then I can start establishing what I need to do to get those goals accomplished. The second part is, when should your onboarding begin? I know with the other polls, you all said that your onboarding is 1 to 3 months. So when do you start that onboarding process? And you can go ahead and start typing in now about when do you think your onboarding should begin? Once they're hired, Mia, okay. Olive says day one. Day one, during the second interview, at the interview process, right on, Vanessa. From the first conversation, day one. I'm getting a lot of day ones. The onboarding actually starts when you decide that you're ready to hire. That's when your onboarding starts. Because when you're putting out that job ad, And you remember how the objective was that assimilation. So we need to start assimilating them right from that job ad, talking about your culture. We want to make sure that they are a cultural fit. So in that job ad, you want to discuss that. Here at the Omnia Group, we help our clients in regards to building those job ads. And in those job ads, we actually put what is your culture, because we want to attract people who are attracted to that type of culture. So we help them create. So we help our clients create those job ads, and we include some of that information, the environment that they'll be working in, and that's what our profile measures as well. The third question that I want you all to answer is who is a part of the onboarding process? So who in your organization do you have being a part of this, what we call onboarding, getting the person in the door? So go ahead and start typing that. Mia, recruiting, hiring managers, trainers, yes, higher ups and departmental heads. Robin, you get the gold star. Yes, it's everyone in the office. I know everybody's going to be like, oh no, I'm going to put that. But yes, office manager, correct, Karen, all employees, executive team, all of these are right. You definitely want everyone in the office. I see, that's what Sue wrote. Everyone in the office is definitely involved in the onboarding. Yes, Cody, even remote employees. That's perfect. Here at the Omnia Group, we do have a few remote employees, and we get them involved in the onboarding process as well. When we're bringing new people on, they're copied on all those emails. We give them an opportunity to kind of have a conversation with our new hires. So yes, remote employees as well. Marie, definitely HR, trainers, partners, and admin. It's basically everyone, especially management. So you want to get that buy-in from the top up, and then everything else will just trickle down. Then the last question I have is onboarding is the same as orientation. You can put agree or disagree. Do you think onboarding is the same as orientation? No, disagree, right? Okay, okay. All of these are disagree, no. Beth, I see Beth says no. Sue, Maria, you all are correct. No, it is not. So and that kind of leads us to our next piece in regards to what are we talking about when we talk about onboarding and orientation. Does anyone know what some of the key differences are? So you all knew that it wasn't the same, but why is it different? You can go ahead and type in, why do you think, or excuse me, not think, because you all actually know that onboarding and orientation is different. So go ahead and type in, why do you think what is the difference between onboarding and orientation? I see a lot of people typing in what the differences are. Orientation only lasts a few days, a week. Onboarding can be months. That's exactly right, Sarah. Onboarding is long term. Exactly, Olive. Onboarding is more of a hire to retire process. Oh, I like that, Mia. That is perfect. Hire to retire process. Orientation is short. Yes, that is perfect. These are some great answers. Onboarding is vetting candidates. Orientation is when they start. That's spot on, Julie. An in-depth process. You all are really advanced in regards to understanding the importance of onboarding and why it's essential in regards to retaining employees. Sue, onboarding is emotionally in with the team and orientation and introduction. You all, that is perfect. That is awesome. You all are kind of stealing my thunder a little bit in regards to this slide, but it is great that you all are coming in very well informed. So this is going to be a great webinar in regards to learning best practices. So let's talk about the onboarding and orientation. Everyone kind of said this in regards to time. Onboarding lasts up to a year, and like we stated earlier, it's from the moment that you decide that you're going to place that ad should have some of that onboarding piece into it, where orientation lasts about 1 to 7 days. It's just kind of, orientation is looked at as just a single event, a one-time, one and done, okay, here's your desk, go ahead to work. Where where onboarding is more about that finesse, more about getting them assimilated, acclimated into your organization, making them become part of the family. And that takes time. Just think about when you're dating. You didn't go from date one to the courthouse to get married, to go get the marriage license. It takes time to build that. It takes time to build that relationship, and that's how you can think about onboarding. The next piece is onboarding is people driven, where orientation is more process driven. Think about the onboarding is more about the feedback, communication, information sessions, sessions with department heads, department managers, where orientation is typically done in a classroom or a conference room, or sometimes it's just here's your desk, here's the paperwork that we need you to complete, and here's your first project. So it's very process driven. It's just kind of getting them in, get them out, you're a number, and move on. Where onboarding, you're getting to know them, they're getting to know you. And the other big piece, the difference between onboarding and orientation is assimilation. And you're gonna hear that word a lot because that is a big piece. The way you get people to stay, and really that is the end goal. Like Mia said, from start to retire, the end goal is that you want this person to be with us because we all know that hiring is is hard, and getting someone to come in and fit and just and make everything seamless is a wonderful experience. But we have all been on the other side where we've hired and it was just a train wreck. It created havoc and commotion, and confrontations happen because of this bad hire. It just interrupts everything when we have to when we have a bad hire. So if you get them assimilated, if you get them wanting to stay, getting them want to keep the ring and walk down the aisle, that is the best, that is the goal of onboarding. So onboarding has that assimilation piece, where orientation is just really about the introductions. This is your desk, this is your boss, this is your peer, and that is about as far as it goes. It's not really getting them, to weave their lives into the tapestry of your organization. And that's what you really want when we're talking about onboarding. And with that orientation, people still consider them new hires, but once you have correctly or efficiently onboarded someone, they are now a part of they're a part of your team, and that strengthens the employee's connections to the company and the coworker. So let's talk about some numbers in regards to why we want to onboard. As I was doing some research in regards to onboarding, I found a couple of different surveys in regards to the numbers in regards to people leaving positions. So 4% of new employees leave their job after a disastrous first day. That was just so shocking to me. 4% of the people are like, I can't take it. Like I'm just going to leave. And I have heard stories in regards to employees just showing up and no one was there. Nothing, there wasn't a schedule laid out, and it wasn't what they expected, and they just don't come back. And so we definitely want to avoid those types of things happening. Also, 22% of staff turnover occurs in the first 45 days of employment. I know typically we look at that 90-day as that hard, we have to make a decision, but you're losing 22% halfway through that process. So we need to make sure that we have a robust onboarding process that will help them stay past the 45 days. And then, this is why onboarding actually lasts longer than that 90 days, can last up to a year, because at 6 months, 31% of the new hires quit their job. And so you're thinking, I want to make this last. I want this to be forever. So we need to continue that onboarding process and not stop it after 90 days. And then also in that 6 months, 90% of the employees decide whether to stay or go. So people are making decisions in those 6 months as well. So like I always say, that this onboarding is not only you keeping them engaged and you wanting them to stay, it's also them thinking about, do I want to stay? So it's like, do they like me, and do I like them? That's kind of how you want to think about that onboarding process. So now let's get into what is onboarding. How can we get this ball started and get it going in the right direction? Well, the first thing we want to talk about is pre-boarding. And pre-boarding is talking about getting their office and desk set up. Making sure they have everything that they need to start their first days. That means their email address is active. And the way you can kind of help people, help them feel engaged or help them feel appreciated is with that email. Once you have the email active, you may want to have, people send them email saying, welcome to the team, just a quick little sentence or two. So when they do open up their email, they'll have all of these welcomes, that's kind of reiterating the fact that we are glad you joined us. And then access to tools and resources. There is nothing worse than, getting, coming in and then not being able to access my voicemail because I don't have my passcode, or access the intranet because I don't know what that number is. If I need to have that, go ahead and have all of that preset and ready to go. And also, when you're thinking about onboarding, when you're thinking about setting up that schedule, you don't want to start it on a Monday or before 10 a.m. If you do, if you have to start it on a Monday, don't start it before 10 a.m. because we all know when we hit the door on Monday, we're probably putting out fires that we had to that came up over the weekend. So now not only am I trying to get the system that decided to crash this weekend, or the software not load, or I had a client that had a major eruption over the weekend and they need me and they need their insurance, or they need some documentation, but I have this new hire starting in. So you want to make sure that the weekend is clear in regards to the fires that cropped up. So maybe start them on Tuesday and then start them at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Just because even though you start them on a Tuesday, something happened Monday night that you need to kind of work on real quick before they come in at 9 o'clock. Like, your new hire shouldn't be coming in with you or 30 minutes after you. Give yourself about 2 hours, one for you to, get the must do's out of the way, so when they come in, you are ready to have a 100% focused on them. And then on their first day, send them some first day information, before their first day. They should get a welcome packet from you. Maybe some tchotchkes, something, with your company, a pen, a company pen, or something to kind of welcome them to the team. But in that welcome packet, talk about the parking. If it's a unique parking situation, let's have that discussion. Tell them where to park. I worked at one place where it was huge in regards to where you could park, where there was visitor parking, then there was other assigned spots that, so I didn't really know where to park, because when I came in for the interview, I was a visitor. But now I'm not a visitor anymore. I'm an actual employee, so I don't think I'm supposed to be in the visitor spot, but I didn't know where to park. So having that information, who to ask for. At the same company that I'm talking about in regards to the parking, I came in, they didn't know the receptionist didn't know who I was, didn't know that I was showing up, and I didn't know who I was supposed to ask for. The only person I knew about was the person that interviewed me. And so I asked for her, but I actually need to ask for my manager, but I didn't know who my manager was. So make sure they know who to ask for when they do show up. You should also send out your mission and vision statement. This is important to your company, and you want them to understand what's important to the company, so they can get that buy-in, tie-in, so they can know what the goals are of the organization. And then also getting to know us. You may want to send out, something real quick that just talks about the people in their department. So they kind of have something, they kind of know who to look for when they're there, or they know a little something about the individual. That's adding to that social piece. that will help them assimilate and get acclimated to the office. So you want, to have a getting to know us. Just one, getting to know us about the company, getting to know the people that they will work with day in and day out. So when you're thinking about pre-boarding, we've kind of got that done. So now we're going to move on to onboarding. And before we move on to onboarding, let's talk about some of the pitfalls we have sometimes. Some pitfall number one, not spending enough time on cultural assimilation. So what do you think some of the effects are if I don't spend enough time on this? What could be some of the issues that I may have with this new hire that I'm bringing on? And you can go ahead and start typing that in. So if I don't spend enough time with them, I know we've talked a lot about assimilation, but you can understand how important that piece is to the organization. That is what makes this person not only an employee but a family member. It's like we always say, we can pick our friends, but we can't pick our family. It's hard to leave your family. That's how you want this person to feel. You want this person to feel that it's hard to leave, especially if you have a good one. Yes, Dayla says, when time allows, we host a getting to know us meeting with new hire department manager peers and start dates. That's great. That is a great way to have that cultural assimilation. I see some other people typing. They will not understand the big picture or vision of the organization. That's exactly right. Kathy, misunderstanding of expectations, disconnect from the team. Karen won't feel like they fit in. That is perfect, Karen. That is exactly right. They won't feel like they fit in. That's one of the effects, and it'll lead to loss of productivity, low morale, and high turnover. And that's what you all were saying, that if I don't feel like I'm a part of something, then why am I here? I'm not engaged. So the way you kind of fix that, the remedy for that is build elements that exhibit your culture and traditions into your process. Meaning, if your company is big on volunteering, they should see that. If you are a fun, creative, outside of the box thinking office, that should be apparent. Maybe you're a highly professional office. Maybe you're highly social. What we do here with the Omnia Group is we create this PowerPoint. Some people might do it in a video where you could have a video of everybody that's on the team. This is Wendy Schaefer. She's our production manager. So we have this, we created a PowerPoint. So when they come in on their first day or within their first week, they can see everyone on the team. And then that's not only an engagement piece for the employee to get to know everyone, to kind of find out little personal pieces, because yes, we understand that Wendy is our production manager, but to find out something personal about Wendy. One, her husband builds awesome speedboats, and you can see one of the boats down there. She's also a big Walking Dead fan. So when a new employee comes in, they will know a little bit more about Wendy, a little more on that personal side. And that personal side is what adds which adds to the social, which can add to the assimilation and acclimation to the organization. Finding something personal about someone makes it easier to socialize and makes them feel like they have a connection. And so not only does this engage our employees here at the Omnia Group, because we get to write these about ourselves. And so now we can find out little things about about everyone else, but also during that first week, we also have the new employee create their page. So everyone gets a blank page, and then they can create their own page, put their own pictures, put their own statements on there. What do they want us to know about them? So it's engagement working both ways. It's one, we're drawing them in, making them a part of our team because we're adding you to our employee book, which is awesome. And then the employees get to find out about them as well. So now we can find some common ground. Like Cynthia Brooks is she is really into music, and she has a wide knowledge of different bands. And so that is a great connection that maybe our new hire, and they can have a discussion about that. So sometimes you just need the little window to help start a conversation. And once we get that conversation going, now they're feeling a connection. And the more connections they feel within the organization, that is definitely going to help your retention. So the other pitfall that we want to avoid is not providing enough tools or support. Because what can happen is they feel like, I'm just been thrown to the wolves. Just like when I showed up for that job where no one knew I was coming. No, I didn't know who to ask for. Literally, when the manager showed me to my office, she was like, "Oh, let me get this stuff out the way. We have been utilizing this office as our catch-all." So literally it was like, okay, so my office used to be the garbage can before I moved here. I mean, really, is that the first impression you want to have when you start into the intranet? This is when you want to make sure that they have a mentor, someone that's going to help them kind of guide them through the process. Have any online guides. Also, this is the time where you want to and maybe talk about your continuing education. Maybe there's some webinars that they might want to listen to that you've recorded. I know when we have a new hire come in, because we do record these webinars and we have some people coming in that will be doing these presentations, kind of let them listen to a presentation to see how to see how to see how they go and kind of what we talk about and the engagement and the interactions that we have with the clients or with the participants of the webinar. So think about things like that they may need and just kind of giving them a day in the life. Also, maybe doing a shadow, having them shadow some employees will help in regards to not providing enough tools or support. Will kind of combat that, because if I can shadow someone, then I kind of know what I need and what to ask for, and then the person that they're shadowing will say, okay, yeah, let me pull this for you. I know when we had a new person start within our organization, she was a client advisor. As she was shadowing me, when I went through a report or when I went through a FAQ sheet that I had on file from my first days, I went ahead and printed that out so I could set her up for success as well. So she would have that information, the quick little cheat sheets, as I call them. The next pitfall that you want to avoid is lack of structure. Employees feel confused, and that can leave them unprepared, because we all know that 90-day is very critical. So after the 90 days, we want to make sure that this is somebody that, one, we want to keep, because we need to make that decision typically before the 90 days, just for, to save cost in regards to what we have to pay out if we let them go longer than 90 days. So I understand 90 days is an important milestone, but we want to make sure that we're setting them up for success. And if you don't have a structured type of onboarding process, then the fallout is they won't be prepared. So the remedy is, one, you're on this webinar today. So you're going to find out what do I need to include in my onboarding process? How do I need to structure it? But as I stated, it should not be rigid. It needs to be flexible, because you're dealing with individuals. I know you may have had a goal set for this date at this time, but if the person does not, if the person does not, is not getting, not on the uptake too quickly, then we may have to make some adjustments in regards to those goals. So you need to have a structure, but it should not be set in stone that we can't deviate from. You want to have the goals, and then you want to make sure that it's flexible and bendable and pliable. You don't want to leave your onboarding to chance. So that is the key for having a structured plan. So what should be in your structured plan? One, it should be goals. Like I said at the beginning, if you don't know where you're going, you are flying blind. You're going into it with no direction. And we all need to have direction, and so does your new hires, as well as your onboarding process. That's why I asked that question in the beginning. What is your goal in regards to your onboarding? And if it's to assimilate, then we should have goals in place that measure that. If it's to find out if they're a right fit for the actual job, meaning, do they have the hard skills that you need? We need to have those goals in place. The next piece is informative. Your onboarding needs to educate the individual not only about the job that they have, but also about the people, about your culture, about your vision. You also want to check in with them. There should be a regular check-in, formal and informal. The next piece is a plan. So you want to have a detailed plan of what this day, week, month looks like for the new hire. And then a progression. You should give them goals that are progressively a little that are stretching them a little further to make sure that they have the ability to grow with your organization. And then lastly, you want to make sure that your that your onboarding includes some engagement, like we have with that PowerPoint presentation, our PowerPoint slide that we have for each individual within our organization. Or like I said, it could also be a video. Like instead of just the boring, oh, this is how you're supposed to dress. This is professional dress. This is non-professional dress. You could do a video in regards to showing someone that's all decked out with a three-piece suit, and then showing someone with their shorts and flip-flops. Just something that's fun and engaging for the individual. So now we know the elements of onboarding. Let's talk about some goals that we need to hit during some important steps along the way of our onboarding process. The first one are goals for the first day. So the goals for the first day is making the employee feel appreciated and equipped to start working. And how do we do that? We've talked about that. One, we should welcome them, have someone that greets them at the door. Because we're not starting them on Monday, because we're starting them after 10, I shouldn't be chained to my desk because I'm trying to take care of some business. I should be there waiting for them. The receptionist shouldn't have to call me saying that John Smith is there. I should be there waiting for John Smith. You want to make it personal. The picture here shows how we kind of personalize when we're having someone new join our organization. We basically put out the welcome sign for them, greeting them. So make it personal. And then during that goal of the first week, we're going to start talking about the schedule, at least that first week schedule. So they know that that we planned for this. We knew you were coming. This isn't a shock. But you don't want to overwhelm them. So it's going to be a fine balance between having enough on that schedule where they feel that they are important, but not having so much that you push them over the cliff and say, I just can't do this. They expect me to end world hunger on my first day, and I don't even know where the kitchen is. So you want to make sure that you're not overwhelming them. Take them on an office tour, and everyone should know that we have a new hire starting today, so they're not like, oh, okay, I didn't know, because I've had that experience as well, where I went around to the office and this was my actual department that I'm going to be working in. My peers didn't even know that I was coming, didn't even know that they had hired somebody or was thinking about hiring someone. So because there was that lack of communication, now I'm feeling like, do they think that I'm taking one of their jobs? So some animosity kind of started, before I even really sat down at my desk, because they were worried that I came in to replace someone because they didn't even know that the department needed a fourth person. So you want to make sure that the people know that someone's coming around, and during that office visit or office tour, you want to talk about, if you need anything from our IT, talk to Tony Curtaccio. If you have problems with your email or your voicemail, you want to talk to Tony. He handles that piece. Or if you have a great creative idea, go talk to Wendy. She will, her door is always open and she'll take those ideas because it's so great when you have someone new because you've been doing this for what, 8, 9, 10, 20 years. So you've seen the same thing, but when you have somebody look at it with fresh eyes, they might have some new idea that you didn't even think of. So let them know who to talk to about that. So as you're going around, it's not just about introductions because that would be orientation. Don't forget, we're onboarding. So it's more about talking about what this person does, how can they assist you, how does this department, does this person assist you to do your job. And then during that office tour, you're also going to assign the mentor, or maybe you've already assigned that mentor and the mentor is the one that's taking them around. You could do it that way too. Also, you want to eliminate the significance of the employee's role. I want to know that you think that you needed me in this position, but then because my goals and at the end of the day should reflect the mission and vision statement of your company, I want to know how does my role help with that mission and vision? How, what part am I playing in that statement? So it should be a correlation, and that's how you're going to make that person feel like they are important and significant to the organization. And now if you get someone thinking like they really need me and I really need them, they're gonna stay. And that is the main thing that you want them to stay, especially if they're good. Now, when I say you want them to stay, I'm only talking about the star performers. I'm not talking about when the evil twin has showed up on and you don't know who this person was because during the interview this is not what they appeared to be. I'm talking about the star performers that really look good. So that's the goals for the first week. Now let's talk about goals. Excuse me, that was goals for the first day. Now let's talk about goals for the first week. So the goal for the first week is build knowledge of process and performance expectations. So the schedule should include a balance of time with others. It should have downtime and time on their own to read the orientation material and or to complete other orientation related tasks. So we all know we have to do paperwork. HR needs the direct deposit slips. We need you to fill out this form and that form. We don't all have to do every single piece of paper on the first day. I mean, we expect them to be here for a while, so let's not inundate them with paperwork. So our suggestion is spread it out over the first week. It doesn't all have to be done the first day. Some things legally, yes. So get the legal ones that need to be done, or with the direct deposit, if that needs to get done as quickly as possible so their check, so their pay is not affected, let's get that done. But we don't have to have, 2 hours with the HR, just, a straight 2 hours. I know at one job, I think it was actually like 2.5 hours of just me and the HR person, just signing, yes, yes. That was a long, daunting 2 hours. I think it was actually 2.5 hours. So you don't have to do everything on the first day. Let's spread it out over the first week. And then give them an overview of your industry. Talk about your competitors. Talk about what makes you the best, what makes you different. Because the way you get people to stay is making them proud of where they work. I mean, here at the Omnia Group, I think we have the best product on the market. The behavioral insight that we provide our clients is bar none. The customer service, and not just because I'm on the service side of the house, I think is top notch. And so I am very proud of that. So when I talk about Omnia, and this is why I've been here for 8 years, because I'm proud of what we're producing. I'm proud of the job that I do. And so you want that person to know about what the competitors look like and why they should be happy that they joined your organization. And then also it just helps them better understand the industry. It helps them better when they're talking about clients, because you can probably hear in my voice how passionate I am about Omnia. So if I'm out there talking about where I work, people are going to be interested and be like, okay, like one, they may want to work for Omnia, which is great because referrals is the best way to get new people into the organization. And one is it's about building that brand. If people understand that Omnia treats their employees well, they have a great product, they're going to want to buy from Omnia. So that's the same thing in regards to your business. You want to put good vibrations out in the atmosphere because it definitely comes back to you tenfold. So talk about that with your new hire. Also, during that first week, this is when, yes, Olive, we are hiring. Talk about you want to set those goals, 30, 60, 90-day goals. You want to talk about that during the first week because if the person doesn't have anything to reach for, once again, then I'm just flying blind. I'm doing, if I don't have a goal, well, then I'll just sit here and do whatever I want. I need to have everyone wants something to shoot for. And as soon as I don't have anything to shoot for, that's when you start worrying about people leaving your organization. When the job no longer becomes a challenge and it becomes just a task, then people will start leaving because everybody wants to feel that challenge. So you want to set those 30, 60, 90-day goals, but also be bendable. You might get someone that is not quick on the uptake, so we may have to adjust some of those goals. But if you have someone that's not quick on the uptake, maybe you should give them the Omnia cognitive report. We'll tell you if they're quick on the uptake. But you just want to make sure that you're flexible in regards to those goals. And then explain the annual performance review. That kind of goes right back to the setting goals and having people understand what the expectation is. Give them a blank copy so they know exactly what I'm going to be measured on. Because now I know how to do my job. If you want someone that's going to hit the ground running, if you have someone that is going to, really attack everything that you give them, giving them the performance review or a blank copy on the front end will benefit you on the back end because now I know what you're going to measure me on. So if you're going to measure me in regards to me generating, I don't know, 100 calls a day or 100 calls a week, then I know I need to hit 100 calls. That's the minimum that I need to hit if I just want to meet expectations. I know if I want to exceed expectation, I might want to do 119, 120, 125. So now you're getting someone that knows what the minimum is, and now they know, how to beat that minimum. So giving them that information up front is very beneficial. So those are the goals for the first week. Once again, it's through all of this is all about that assimilation, getting them acclimated into the organization. And you do that by slow steps, building it each day, each week. So now we've got them through the first week and they didn't quit on us because we've gotten them so excited and engaged and they're pumped up and they just want to stay with us forever. Let's talk about goals for the first 30 days. The goals for the first 30 days is see if the company job meet their expectations. Now we're talking about, is this really a great fit? I mean, during the interview, it seemed like it was a great fit. We talked, they read our job description, they read our job ad. We talked about what we're looking for. They seemed like they matched, they scored well on the Omnia profile. So that worked out great. So now we're talking about, is this what they expected and is this what we're giving them? Making sure that everything meshes. Like what we said is what they expected and what they told us is what we expected. So learning about the company culture. Acclimation is still in process. Like I said, that's the buzzword, but it's a very important word that we're using throughout this onboarding process. And then you want to help them learn about the tools and resources. Onboarding is about knowledge. Knowledge is key. Giving them that information in regards to about their job. So now we're more job specific. That first week, they're talking, you're getting the company, the employees, the introductions. Now we're talking about their job, the tools, the resources. During this first 30 days, they should really start doing more of what they will be doing until they retire. And then complete one small project, probably with, definitely with some assistance from other people. Just a really small project, create a spreadsheet, generate some data for you, something that's small, but one, it gives you a clue as to, how quickly they work. It also will give them a glimpse at what the expectations are, So having that information will definitely help you when we're doing that 90-day review. So now we've got them through the first 30 days. Now we're on to 60 days, and we're getting them acquainted again with the job and have some short-term wins and accomplishments. And the way we do that is now they're going to complete a bigger project with the help from team members, of course. Creates trust and team synergy. One, now my team knows how I work and I know how my team works. So that's going to create synergy. That's going to create that trust. Like Cynthia Brooks, she has a high attention to detail. So people with a high attention to detail, they sometimes have a harder time delegating because they just rather do it themselves than, assign it to you. Because what if you do it wrong? I don't want to get called on the carpet for a mistake. When you have your team members doing something together, now Cynthia knows how this new hire works. So now Cynthia will feel more comfortable in regards to delegating tasks. And that will build, so now you're building a stronger team. Also, take on longer duration projects because not everything is going to be a quick fix. We have a lot of multitaskers, out there. I know as I'm speaking with clients, everybody wants a multitask. I want you to be able to do things quickly, but not every project is going to be, a 2-minute project. Some projects take longer. So you want to know how they handle that. Like, for example, I am an extreme multitasker. I like things done quickly. I want it now. I want it done. I want it fast. But every quarter I have this one report that takes me about an hour to do, maybe about almost 2 hours to do. And so even though that's like 1% of my job, it takes a lot for me to sit down and get focused on that because I like a lot of variety. So you want to see how they handle that. I mean, as adults, we all know that we're not going to love 100% of the job. But I love 99.99999%. It's that one report that I have to do, but literally it's only 4 times a year. So, I mean, that's why once again I'm still here. So you want to see how they handle that. And then it also builds that confidence. And then you want them to get comfortable with the routine and process. And then that's where you can kind of make adjustments. If you see that they're having a harder time with those longer duration projects, maybe we can kind of adjust things a little bit. Like here at the Omnia Group, Cynthia is great on long range projects and I'm great on shorter range, but there's one report that I have to do myself. But she has probably like 4 or 5 reports that she has to do, but she's great at that. So that's how we made this team very strong. We gave her the bulk of those long range projects because that's where her strengths are. And my strength is in regards to short term, I can answer the phone, I can switch hats, or I can switch priorities really quickly. So think about that. So this is where you can kind of define what your team looks like. Now let's talk about goals for our 90 days. The first 90 has a clear understanding of job and culture. By 90 days, they should really understand who you are, what their job looks like, what the company is all about, and you should have the same type of knowledge about them. Now they are completing projects independently because don't forget, we're about to judge them on that 90-day, and that 90-day is that hard cutoff in regards to whether or not it's going to cost the company more money if I keep you 91 days. And so now we need to see how they work all by themselves. You're taking off the training wheels, but don't walk away. So you just kind of be there as a support system in case they start to topple over, but they should really be able to go the distance. Take on bigger responsibilities. And you want to set them up for success. So you want to make sure that they have all the key pieces that they need to take on, the bigger projects. And then they should be able to juggle all the job duties. Like I said, a lot of our clients look for the multitaskers. Whenever I ask them, do you want someone that's a multitasker? Yes, I do. So they all need to juggle. And because of the society that we're in now, basically, that when I send you an email, I know you've received it on your tablet, your phone, in your, on your desktop, your laptop. So I'm sitting here waiting, and if you're like me, I'm the multitasker, impatient, I'm waiting for you to answer the email. So they need to be able to juggle a lot of things because our clients expect that. And so this will also help them empower their independence because now they know that you have confidence in them in regards to completing the projects. So now we've gone through 30, 60, and 90. So those were the goals. So now let's talk about when we're conducting the 30, 60, 90-day check-in. You want to make sure that you set some time aside. You want to make sure that that you're not trying to do this, as they're leaving for the day and the elevator doors are closed and saying, how's it going over there? That's not a check-in. That's not even an informal check-in. So you want to make sure that you're setting up a specific time aside for each of these check-ins. Also, be prepared. Be prepared to give um, positive, negative critiques about their performance because we want to get, maybe it could just be a slight adjustment that they need to make, and they could be a star performer for you. So be prepared. Have specifics written down. Don't try to guess. Just like for our 90-day evaluation or for your yearly evaluation, don't try to remember what they did. You're going to have to write these things down because you'll forget. Just because there's so much going on throughout the day, I'm not going to remember on day 40 that you were able to handle a call that would have escalated and losing a client. But on day 40, you saved that client for us. You might forget that. So make sure that you write things down, and it's a two-way conversation. Just like in the interview, they should do more talking. You should do more listening because we want to get feedback from them. This is how we can adjust our onboarding process. This is how we rate our onboarding process, by talking to them and finding out where our strengths are, where our challenges are. And then lastly, you want to follow up. We've probably all experienced this all talk, no action. Yeah, I told them, or, yeah, we filled out that survey, but nothing happened. Oh, they have another survey for us to complete. I know nothing's going to happen. So you want to make sure that you're following up. If there was something that came across in that conversation that we need to talk about, you want to make sure that you that you follow through. And then lastly are the 7 keys to a good onboarding strategy. We talked about it. You want to have a program. Definitely know that they're coming. Everyone should be involved, but especially the management, top down. You want to have a well-defined day one. You don't want that person to feel like, okay, they really didn't need me because they didn't even know I was coming. How long does onboarding last? It could last up to a year. Do the check-ins, and they can be formal and informal. And also, you want to assign that mentor. At this point, you can go ahead and type in any questions that you may have. You can go ahead and type those in. This is my contact information if you have any questions. Typically, when I give this webinar, I get the question of how do I walk the line between appearing fun and engaging versus appearing cheesy and unprofessional. It's kind of simple. It just includes the employees and managers in the design. What fun activities would your employees enjoy? Get the feedback from them, and then when you do an activity, immediately ask, what did y'all think of this? Did y'all like this? Do you think we should continue this? If the fun activity is perceived cheesy or stupid, then you'll know, okay, yeah, we need to X that one out. Let's not do that. And so, you know, I say just ask for feedback. That is the best way to find out if your onboarding process is working. We do have the presentation. It's under here under takeaways. It's the employee onboarding slide deck. You can click to download that. I also have included the onboarding sample checklist. Again, next week, Kim Bussey is going to talk about delivering a painless 90-day employee evaluation. So that's after, we've gone through this process, we've hit the strategies, you now have a plan. Now we want to make sure that the employee is hitting that plan. So I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I don't see that we have any questions. I thank you all for participating and making this interactive and answering the questions as I went through the presentation. Again, if you have any questions or would like to contact Omnia or me, there's our contact information at the top.